What is good, everybody? It's your boy Dar Sora, and episode 2 of the final season of the Clone Wars just dropped, and it was epic as usual. So we're going to break down this episode in depth today, and I don't want to waste any more time, so let's get right into it. We start off this episode with Anakin, Hunter, and Rex talking about the possible mission to figure out if Echo is still alive and if the Council will approve of this mission. Hunter assures them that the Bad Batch will fight alongside of them, even though that he thinks the idea of Echo being alive is just a trap. Anakin says he is 100% sure that the Council will approve of this mission, and Rex says if he's so confident in the Council's approval, then they should go right on ahead with this mission. Anakin stops him and tells them they have something to do first, and Rex seems hesitant about this, and they argue for a little bit, and Hunter leaves them because he doesn't want to get involved. We get Anakin going to Rex's barrack, where he talks to Padme and apologizes for the delay. Padme begins to laugh at him for thinking that he could single-handedly end the war by himself, and then Anakin explains to her how he's worried that Rex is letting his personal feelings get in the way of the mission. Obi-Wan begins to approach the barrack, and Rex knocks on the door to signal to Anakin about Obi-Wan approaching. Padme then tells Anakin that Rex is always by his side and that he must have learned this trait from Anakin, and for Anakin to stand by Rex's side while he needs him the most. Obi-Wan begins to grill Rex on where Anakin is and why he's inside his barrack alone without Rex, and Rex tries to play it off by saying he's fixing his armor for him, and Obi-Wan doesn't really buy it. Anakin then comes out with the quote-unquote fixed helmet, and Obi-Wan tries to tell Anakin about the Council's thought, but Anakin and Rex walk away, with Anakin saying that the Council obviously approves of the mission and they must go. Obi-Wan sighs at Anakin's comments and then tells him he hopes that he gave Padme his well wishes, and this comment definitely begins to bother Anakin. We then find ourselves on a ship with Anakin, Rex, and the Bad Batch aboard. Rex begins to ask Hunter who the Bad Batch reports to, and Hunter says he doesn't have an answer for that. They begin to approach Sakor Minor, and they are alerted by Tech that it's going to be a very rough landing. As they begin to land, they fly through yellow mist and thunderstorms, and their ship is even being followed by a dragon-like creature. Once they make their landing, Anakin asks what they know about the planet, and they begin to discuss about the locals and their worship of reptile-like creatures, and the dragon-like creature attacks their ship. They rush outside and find one of the locals on top of their ship and on top of the dragon's back. Anakin tells them not to fight and to try to talk to them, which Rex agrees. Anakin is quickly snatched up by one of the dragons. While trying to figure out what to do about Anakin, Crosshair tells them to relax and shoots a grapple hook on top of the dragon who took Anakin and begins to pursue them. He tries to shoot the local who is on top of the dragon several times, but misses and eventually drops his gun. After a long chase, Crosshair detaches himself onto a cliff right as the dragons approach the camp of the locals. Anakin is being held on the ground by the claw of the dragon, and Crosshair calls back to the group and lets them know that he is with Anakin and come to his signal. All the locals begin to gather around Anakin, and it seems to be that the one riding the dragon who abducted Anakin is their leader. The Bad Batch and Rex fly to their location and begin to prepare to go in, and Rex reminds them that Anakin told them no casualties and only to disarm them. Wrecker uses his amazing strength to roll a huge rock down the cliff, and they infiltrate behind it, disarming the locals while Crosshair shoots an electrical dart into the dragon's claw that is holding Anakin captive, and it frees him. The group of locals and dragons are outmatched, and the leader begins to talk to them in their native language, and Tech is actually able to translate it, which he says to them, "We do not want your war on our planet, and that's why we took your leader." Anakin, through the translation of Tech, tells him that they didn't bring the war here, but the Separatists did. Rex then begins to tell the local leader that one of their men has been captured and they just want to retrieve him, then they will leave the planet for good. The chief then offers them some scouts to help them to lead them to Tambor City, and that will be on their own afterwards. Next, Admiral Trench sends Minister Tambor a transmission where he says that he has disturbing news that the clones have traced the algorithm signal to them and that his mission is in jeopardy, to which the minister can't believe that the Republic would attack him due to the neutrality of the planet. The group of Anakin, Rex, and the Bad Batch make their way with the help of the scouts to the city, and Tech tells them that he is no longer finding Echo's signal, which is most likely due to the fact that the atmosphere of the planet is very crazy. Hunter then suggests once again it's probably a trap, and Rex is not happy about this and quickly shuts it down. Crosshair adds that Rex is letting his personal feelings get involved, and even taunts him by saying he doesn't blame Rex for leaving Echo for dead just because he's another Reg, and which Rex responds to that with a two-piece combo of his fists, and Wrecker grabs Rex and throws him off, and then Anakin breaks up the whole thing and tells Hunter to take his men to scout for an entrance while he talks to Rex alone. After they're alone, Anakin tells Rex that he needs to accept the fact that Echo might be dead and this could actually be a trap. Rex tells him that he has watched so many of his brothers die in war and he tries not to hang on to any of them, but he tells Anakin that that was 100% Echo's voice and not some algorithm. Anakin says he hopes he is right and he hopes that is the case. Moving along, Anakin and Rex meet back up with the Batch, where apparently Tech has located Echo's signal once again. Tech hacks them inside a tower where the signal of Echo is coming from, and they take a lift up the tower. Anakin reminds them that this is a stealth mission, and quickly after the doors of the lift open, Wrecker and the Batch slaughter all the droids within a heartbeat, completely ignoring Anakin. After destroying all of the droids, Wrecker begins to brag and then realizes he didn't listen to anything that Anakin said and apologizes to him. The group moves onward and Tech begins to explain that he lost the signal again, and Rex can't believe it and asks how it's possible due to the fact that they're inside a tower and there can't be any outside interference. Tech then tells them that the signal is only traceable during data transmissions, and until Echo relieves any information, the signal won't be active. Because of this, everyone splits up to look for Echo, and after some time, Tech finally relocates the signal, and they begin to approach where the signal is coming from, just to get a different signal from Minister Tambor to find out that it was a trap all along, and that Echo is indeed dead, but his mind belongs to them. Rex then calls him a liar, and the group is completely swarmed by an army of droids. Now we get my favorite scene in this episode, where we get a badass scene where they all individually kill swarms of droids in the smoothest and coolest ways possible. Rex and Tech then go into the room where Echo's signal is coming from, and there's some type of weird computer in the room, and Tech says he doesn't like the look of this, and then begins to use the computer and says there's a life form inside of a stasis chamber and that he can get it open. And when he opens it, a mutated Echo pops out that is wired up and looks to be some kind of cyborg. Rex brings him down while Tech tries to figure out how to unhook Echo from all of the wires. Echo then begins to freak out and starts talking about needing to escape, and Rex desperately tries to get through to him, and after some time finally does. Echo asks if that's actually Rex and then says, "You came back for me." It's a really touching moment, and then it's followed up by Rex holding his hand and telling him that he's safe and that they are going home, and Rex calls Tech over to help him, which brings us to the end of the episode. Now, talking about this episode, I just want to say I love this episode a lot. I liked it even more than the first episode, which I already loved. So this last and final season has set the bar very high, and it's actually really hard to wait week for week for this because so far it's been so good. Now, I love this episode so much because there was so much emotion shown in this episode. First, Rex talking to everyone who might be doubting him, talking about Echo's signal and wanting to rescue Echo. He is told time and time again that it's either a trap or Echo's probably dead and not to get his hopes up, and he fights throughout the whole episode telling people that this is definitely Echo and he truly believes it. Then we get Anakin and Padme talking, which I haven't seen them interact in so long, so it was really beautiful and it was really touching to me. And then even that little comment that Obi-Wan threw in to Anakin, telling him that he hopes he sent Padme his well wishes, I thought, that spoke some volumes. And then just Rex and the Bad Batch had arguments throughout the whole episode, and they kind of got into some fights, and I just feel like tensions were really high. And at the very end, of course, when Echo pops out of the stasis chamber and Rex sees him and begins to talk to him, it was just really touching, and it just got me in my feels. And this episode just had it all. So I want to say thank you guys for tuning in. This was a really fun breakdown of this second episode, and I can't wait for next week. I just wish I could sleep until next week and I could watch and continue to do that until the season's done. But sadly, the world doesn't work like that. And I'll see you guys next week for episode 3 of the final season of Clone Wars. Thank you guys for tuning in, and may the Force be with you. I'll see you next time.